consumer price index, which measures inflation rate, fell to 17.01% in August, the National Bureau of Statistics said on Wednesday. According to the latest CPI report, this rate is 0.37 percentage points lower than the 17.38% recorded in July this year. Inflation dropped from 18.17% in March to 18.12% in April, before dropping further to 17.93%, 17.75% and 17.38% in the months of May, June and July respectively. Well, joining us on the news to further analyze the inflation report is economist Paul Alaje. Thank you for joining us on News Now. Now, Mr. Alaje, what would you say is responsible for the consecutive drop in inflation rate?
Thank you so very much for we've continued to witness this drop in inflation rates. We are getting to a point where we are seeing some level of stability. When I say stability, I'm not saying that as we speak all is well with our economy, but we have seen some level of improvement from where we were 2020, relatively better now, because when you look at some of the actions government have taken and some of the expectations of government, you see that it seems to be relatively better than when we were under lock and key around this time last year. Quite a number of things have started to happen. A lot of Nigerians are now on the streets, unlike when there was lockdown or interstate restrictions. Most of those are not there. But when you look at the number critically, National Bureau of Statistics has not said inflation has fallen. No, they are saying inflation is increasing at a reducing rate. What it means is that if inflation, a average commodity is 100 naira, is now 117 naira. That is what they are saying. So it is increasing, but the rate of increase between 2019 and 2020 is higher than 2020 and 2021. So inflation is increasing, but it has a decreasing rate. So it's better than when we were at 18%, truthfully. I would say that it's relatively better. But what do we need to do? We need to quickly see how we can complement on most of these gains so that we can drive back inflation to a single digit.
Mr. Alaje, even though inflation rate has been dropping, but we can't say the price of food has dropped significantly. So help us understand that situation.
Okay, so when you say inflation has been dropping, that exactly is not what is happening. Inflation is still increasing, but at a reducing rate. When you compare what inflation is doing with what National Bureau of Statistics reported, you would agree with me that National Bureau of Statistics is saying that month on month from your projection, inflation actually increased. But when you compare National Bureau of Statistics figure, what you reported for 2020 to 2019, inflation at that time increased at about, it's relatively higher than what we are doing now. So the way to understand this is that inflation is increasing, but at a reducing rate. When you say inflation is not increasing, then we're having negative, or we're saying that we're having deflation. That's not what we are having. It's still inflation, it's still increasing. 17% is still high. So when we now use the word that it is a reducing inflation, we need to be very careful so that people don't interpret mean things are relatively better. We are saying between July and August, inflation actually increased. So what people can really relate with is month-on-month increase in inflation, which is July versus August. But properly speaking, when you look at what happened in 2020 to 2021, we are saying that the inflation rate for these two periods of time at these 2 years is relatively better. But it does not mean the inflation is better off. We are saying we are beginning to have relative ease, the kind of impact that it had in 2020 when compared to 2021.
Mr. Alaje, thank you so much for that clarification.